The only time that's been documented they ever crossed paths was in a 2-on-3 handicap match at WrestleMania 20, which was believed to be at that time The Rock's final match in the WWE. I think this would be the best way to bring The Rock back after all the fallout of WrestleMania 29. He lost his first match in over 10 years at WrestleMania this year at WrestleMania 29 to John Cena. We haven't seen The Rock since, so why not bring The Rock back after he's challenged by Dave Batista? Since the release of that video on Twitter of The Rock's confrontation with Batista back when The Rock was champion prior to losing it to John Cena at WrestleMania 29, there's been a lot of speculation and skepticism surrounding The Rock's further involvement with the WWE. Now, he does have some post-WrestleMania 29 dates. He's currently recovering from 3 hernias. Of course, we have received an update on The Rock over the past couple of weeks on his Twitter. Apparently, he's recovered from surgery. He's recovered from all these injuries that he sustained in his match with John Cena at WrestleMania. There's no opponent or no date set for The Rock to return in the WWE. Perhaps they're putting off his return up until SummerSlam, when it is believed we will see The Rock again. Maybe Batista will return sometime between now and before SummerSlam, probably about 3 weeks before SummerSlam. He'll issue a challenge to The Rock, and that will set up for The Rock facing Dave Batista for possibly the WWE Championship, which Dave Batista could win from someone like John Cena or Ryback between now and before SummerSlam. I think this match would give SummerSlam unprecedented success. It would also allow SummerSlam to be one of the most highly purchased events of 2013, and with how big SummerSlam has been promoted to be ever since at least 5 years ago, SummerSlam's match and main event could be Batista facing The Rock in one of the biggest SummerSlam matches in years. If you had Triple H face Brock Lesnar last year at SummerSlam with how successful that match was for both its emotion and intensity, why not try to better it this year by having The Rock face Batista for the first time ever in a one-on-one match? Now, Batista and The Rock have faced everybody in their respective careers, but they have never crossed paths, similar to how The Rock and Shawn Michaels, The Rock and Bret Hart, and many of the top WWE superstars of their eras of wrestling when they were in their prime have never crossed paths. I would love to see The Rock facing Dave Batista, and my favorite in this match, my pick to win, would definitely be The Rock. It would be the perfect way for The Rock to re-emerge since his loss to John Cena at WrestleMania 29, something that I was hoping wasn't going to happen for The Rock. I was really hoping The Rock was going to retain the WWE Championship and kind of extend his reign as the champion, because I thought it would be very appropriate for The Rock to come back to professional wrestling and hold the title for about 4 to 5 months instead of immediately dropping it to someone like CM Punk or John Cena. I also thought that at WrestleMania it would have been better to have a 3-way match as opposed to having The Rock face John Cena in the sequel from WrestleMania 28. It's beyond me why they took CM Punk out of the match between The Rock and John Cena. Obviously because The Rock expressed a desire to lose to John Cena, losing his first match in over 10 years. It's been a while since The Rock has lost anything. The thing about The Rock, ever since his return, everything has fit perfectly into place for The Rock. Now, tomorrow he'll celebrate his 40th birthday. I don't know if WWE will even acknowledge it, but it's time for The Rock to come back to the WWE and feud with someone other than John Cena. Ever since his return, The Rock has feuded with The Awesome Truth, The Miz, and R-Truth. He's feuded with CM Punk, and of course the bulk of his return has focused on his feud and rivalry with John Cena. There are so many superstars that have a lot of potential these days that The Rock could feud with, and because we have never seen a match between The Rock and Brock Lesnar in over 10 years, a rematch from the 2002 SummerSlam match and its fallout, or a match between The Rock and Batista, I think those matches are in dire need of happening, and I think that we would benefit from this because the wrestling fans would certainly enjoy a match between The Rock and Batista, and ratings would certainly benefit. And if it happened at an event like SummerSlam, SummerSlam would probably be the most highly purchased pay-per-view of the entire 2013 pay-per-view calendar. The thing about Batista is we haven't seen him in over 3 years, so when he came out on Raw just a few weeks ago and confronted The Rock, it certainly left us with the impression we will see The Rock and Dave Batista cross paths at some time for the WWE Championship. Now, there was a short version of the confrontation and there was a longer version of the confrontation on YouTube. I tweeted the shorter version on our Twitter and I included it at the bottom of our radio form for you. It's just a face-to-face altercation between The Rock and Dave Batista. While The Rock is cutting a promo, Dave Batista comes out. Obviously, Dave Batista is the fan favorite. The Rock still has some of his supporters firmly in his corner. Mixed reactions for both superstars. I think this would be an awesome match of a fan favorite clashing with a fan favorite, and it would be very interesting to find out who the fans would favor more in this match. Fan support would definitely be down the middle, more so than it was for The Rock and John Cena's two previous encounters at WrestleMania 28 and 29. The Rock firmly had the fans in his corner, and I think it would be very different if we had so many of the fans in the corner of Dave Batista and so many of the fans in the corner of The Rock. I think the way this match will go, if The Rock faces Batista, is if this is the first match of The Rock since WrestleMania 29 at an event like SummerSlam, The Rock will come back to redeem his loss at WrestleMania 29 after suffering 3 injuries in one match and continuing to compete for over 20 minutes in that match with John Cena, trying everything to put the Doctor of Thugonomics away and being unable to do so. I think The Rock will pick up his first win since WrestleMania 29, and if he's going to lose, he'll lose a few months down the road. If The Rock is going to regain the WWE Championship with how short his first reign was, you can damn well bet The Rock will hold the WWE Championship for the second time in over 10 years for at least 4 to 5 months, and The Rock desperately needs that, because if The Rock came back to solidify his legacy and be remembered for the legacy that he's left behind in professional wrestling, if this is all leading up to The Rock's possible retirement, I think The Rock needs a lengthy WWE Championship reign so that he can go out on top. You don't have superstars like Stone Cold Steve Austin or many of the top superstars from the Attitude Era to consistently rely on, so you need The Rock to go out on top in a big way and lose to a superstar that is equally as impressive of him as the new talent initiative has seen over the last number of years. Really, the only one that you can really have The Rock lose to and go out on top against would be John Cena, but you need to have somebody just as big as The Rock, so why not bring in Batista to have the honor of ending The Rock's career? You would never think this 10 years ago. You would think someone like The Undertaker would end The Rock's career just as he did Shawn Michaels' career at WrestleMania 26 back in 2010. But I think that with how many limited superstars you have with the new talent initiative, with the exception of a few, like John Cena, that could put The Rock out if we're leading up to The Rock's retirement from professional wrestling, you need to bring somebody in like Dave Batista, and if not Dave Batista, Brock Lesnar, to bring The Rock's career to an end. But I think that if The Rock was to face Brock Lesnar as his first opponent since WrestleMania 29, he would more than likely defeat Brock Lesnar, because there's nowhere in history where it's been written down The Rock has gotten the better of Brock Lesnar than the feud between The Rock and Brock Lesnar from 2002. One of the biggest reasons why I think The Rock facing Brock Lesnar needs to happen sometime either in 2013 or in 2014 for WrestleMania 30 is the fact the feud really didn't have much detail. There was a lot of emphasis on the training regimens of The Rock and Brock Lesnar, if you can remember back that far, and how they were preparing to face one another for what was to believe to have been the biggest match of 2002 in that era of wrestling. It was definitely one of the biggest matches of the early thousands, and it really put into perspective how far Brock Lesnar's career would go from defeating The Rock. It was believed then the torch had been passed from The Rock to Brock Lesnar in the main event of SummerSlam 2002. That was done as the follow-up to Brock Lesnar's victory in the 2002 King of the Ring tournament, which was really the first accolade Brock Lesnar had achieved in his wrestling career before ever going on to win the UFC Championship and dominating that aspect of professional sport. With how much unfinished business The Rock and Brock Lesnar has, and with how much that match left out a lot of detail, I think that there is a dire need of having The Rock facing Brock Lesnar either in 2013 or sometime early within 2014. I think The Rock facing Brock Lesnar has WrestleMania 30 written all over it, and I keep going back to a tweet that Paul Heyman said on his Twitter account at Paul Heyman, where he said that he had some kind of challenge awaiting The Rock for WrestleMania 30, and with how much emphasis he's had on the career of Brock Lesnar over the past number of months, ever since Brock Lesnar's return in 2012, which gave Paul Heyman an excuse to come back and have a business relationship with the WWE, then obviously the challenge Paul Heyman is referring to on his Twitter account is a challenge from Brock Lesnar, because if Brock Lesnar loses to Triple H in the steel cage match, there really isn't anything else left for Brock Lesnar to do, because there's a limited amount of superstars for Brock Lesnar to face who are at his same level. The same thing can be said about The Rock. There are a limited amount of superstars for The Rock to face, and because of the limited amount of superstars you have with today's new talent initiative, the only one you can really bring in is either Batista or Brock Lesnar to face The Rock. And with how impressive The Rock has been since his return in 2011, he really needs an opponent that is at his same level. You're not going to have The Rock facing Dolph Ziggler, with how good Dolph Ziggler may be as the World Heavyweight Champion. You're not going to have The Rock face someone the caliber of Dolph Ziggler. You're going to have someone like as equally as impressive as The Rock to face him, and that's why we had CM Punk be the champion for over 434 days because they wanted to build a superstar up to be as equally as impressive as The Rock and give The Rock a legitimate reason to defeat him and defeat him for the WWE Championship, and that's why we saw CM Punk be as impressive as he was in his past WWE Championship reign. He may not have surpassed the record of Bruno Sammartino, holding the championship for a number of years before losing in a total of over 4,000 days, a record that CM Punk foresaw himself defeating, but he was a very impressive champion, and it gave The Rock a reason to face CM Punk and defeat him for the WWE Championship. If you're going to have The Rock face a new talented superstar such as Sheamus or someone like Dolph Ziggler, you're going to have to put this feud off for an additional few months to give Dolph Ziggler, say, some time to build up credibility to be as impressive as The Rock and give The Rock a legitimate reason to want to face Dolph Ziggler for something like the World Heavyweight Championship. If The Rock is coming back, I foresee The Rock coming back to reclaim his WWE Championship, because in the rule book, every champion, no matter when they lose the championship or regardless of the circumstances they lose the championship under, they have what's called a rematch clause, and every wrestling fan knows that, and every champion that's had a rematch clause one way or another has cashed in. CM Punk recently did it against The Rock at this year's Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. He was unsuccessful cashing in on The Rock. He lost the championship once again, as he did at the Royal Rumble, in controversial fashion. It's unknown when The Rock will utilize his rematch clause in his contract, but the thing is, the rematch clause is there, and regardless of who the champion is, I really believe they will face The Rock. And there also is a chance The Rock will go into SummerSlam 2013 or WrestleMania 30 as the defending champion against someone like Dave Batista, who could win the 2014 Royal Rumble as part of his return also. One way or another, we will see Dave Batista facing The Rock, and that is a bold prediction for a radio host and columnist to make. But with that tweet that was sent on our Twitter account of the video confrontation between The Rock and Dave Batista, can you really second guess that we will see a match between The Rock and Dave Batista? Why would this confrontation take place off of air? Following the conclusion of Monday Night Raw, The Rock is in the middle of the ring cutting a promo with the WWE title over his shoulder. We see Dave Batista come out for an anonymous face-to-face with The Rock. Obviously, that's giving us the impression The Rock is going to face Dave Batista, the Great One against the Animal, either at SummerSlam or WrestleMania 30, and with how quickly events like SummerSlam 2013 and WrestleMania 30 are fastly approaching from New Orleans in 2014 next year, be it this is supposed to be the most colorful WrestleMania of all time, why not decorate it with The Rock facing Dave Batista? Give me your predictions on The Rock's future in the WWE. Do you think we will see The Rock face Dave Batista or The Rock face Brock Lesnar sometime in later 2013 or early 2014? You can let me know by joining the conversation with me on Facebook, facebook.com/HW Entertainment, twitter.com at Jonathan Clarke1, where you can see the confrontation between The Rock and Dave Batista amongst our Twitter archives, and you can watch past video archives of this radio show. There are over 1,000 of them on youtube.com/JonathanClarke22. This match has received a lot of skepticism and a lot of speculation, and I thought I would offer some brief thoughts on The Rock facing Dave Batista. I predict it's going to happen either sometime or later on in 2013 or sometime in 2014, either at the